Radio. iHeartRadio. And right here on FS1, Joy Taylor is joining me. Trent Dilfer, I'm told. Peter King still chasing him. Nick Swisher. Greg Jennings today. We're absolutely packed. The breaking news today. Let's spend a couple of minutes on it. Breaking NFL news. Baker Mayfield's going to have a new head coach. Hugh Jackson has been fired. I said before the season, I didn't think Hugh Jackson or Todd Haley, I didn't think they were a bad combination for Baker Mayfield. He's got running backs. He's got a nice tight end. He's got a star receiver, a couple of offensive guys. If Baker Mayfield can go 6-10 and you feel like he's the guy with that defense, I didn't think Hugh was the worst guy. I mean, right now you got to have offensive guys to win big in this league outside of Belichick, it seems like. But they don't think Hugh Jackson's the guy. The GM didn't hire him, so they're going to go get a new coach. I mean, Hugh Jackson, listen, there's a lot of ego and a lot of insecurity. He kept reminding everybody that he was the head coach. Bad optics, looked juvenile, looked insecure. I don't think anybody thinks Hugh Jackson's a top NFL head coach. I think he's a good offensive guy. I've always felt he's one of those NFL guys that could go to college and win. He'd be good in the living room. You know, he's got kind of a handsome, good energy, good fun, good storyteller. But in the end, Cleveland's dysfunctional. If I'm the Browns, I go out and hire Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma. You got to make this thing with Baker work. You got to make it work. And in 2018, it's an offensive league. Go get an offensive-minded guy with the right temperament to deal with Cleveland, the owner. John Dorsey can hire his guy because Cleveland's got talent. There's players here. They've got players. This is not a team. Sam Darnold's got no help. Josh Roden doesn't have much help. You know, a lot of these, Josh Allen at Buffalo didn't have a lot of help. Baker's got some players here. They've got some players here. This is not bereft of talent. So get Lincoln Riley, get it done. Hugh Jackson been fired, head coach of the Cleveland Browns, 2-5-1, which is not a horrible record considering they're bad at kicking field goals and their schedule has been absolutely brutal. Doesn't get easier. Kansas City next. All right, we do it every Monday at this time, where Colin is right and where Colin was wrong. I'm plenty of both over the last week. And here we go.
Where Colin was right.
We are on fire with our football picks. A blazing 5, another winning week. We picked the Packers to cover but not win against the Rams. Happened. We picked Seattle to go on the road as a dog and win. They did. And we picked the Bears to not only win but cover against the injury-riddled Jets, and they did. In fact, we should have been 4-1. We got a terrible beat on the Bengals Buccaneers game where we had the Bengals and we were on the right side, and then Tampa backdoored it. But again, over 60%, another winning week with blazing 5. I've never been this hot before.
Where Colin was wrong.
I sold all my Seattle Seahawks stock at the beginning of the year. Pete Carroll deserves a ton of credit. This is not a rebuilding team. Now, I don't know if they're going to be a playoff team, but they're not a rebuilding team, and they changed it up. Pete said, we're going to be a conservative, run-first offense. Last year, they couldn't run the ball at all. They drafted another running back, although they haven't played their first-round running back, didn't yesterday. They have become a low-mistake, pound the football, own the time of possession, and has always played good defense. Pete's always been a very good defensive coach. I don't worry about that side. But I sold my stock. They're a power-running team, control the clock, never turn the ball over and play great defense. And I got to tell you, I watched them yesterday. That wasn't close with Detroit. To go on the road in the NFL and dominate a team with a good quarterback is hard to do. And they completely, absolutely controlled the Lions, who to that point had been playing good football.
Where Colin was right.
Oh, yeah, Andrew Luck. It's amazing. When you give him a decent offensive line and a decent running game, he's second in the NFL in touchdown passes, which is incredible when you consider he's got one go-to offensive player, T.Y. Hilton, who's been hurt some of the year. Listen, all Andrew Luck's ever needed was a little protection. And the new GM, Chris Ballard, in 2 years now, less than 2 years, has rebuilt that offensive line, especially guard, center, guard. They're giving Andrew Luck time to throw. And then they went and drafted a couple years ago a guy named Marlon Mack, a running back. He's been terrific. This is all Andrew Luck's ever needed. He's going to end up with 45 touchdown passes potentially. And it's not they don't have a great defense. But every time Andrew Luck has been given a little help. He didn't even have talk about not see this coming. He's even kind of eliminated most of his fumbling issues. I think he had one yesterday, but by and large, he's not even, it's not just that he's picking up 3 or 4 yards at a time. Yesterday, he had a breakaway run. Shocked. I mean, there's some guys in the NFL you just give up on. You're like, okay, they're old, they're coming off injuries, they're not entirely coachable. Maybe this is why everybody